compiling a database of every British company that has historic ties to the slave trade. London Marketplace's Stephen Beard reports discoveries.
It's the friggin' end of July, the height of summer. And we've got fog. I calculated how many miles I put on this beast. 4,400 miles. If I type in Lakeland, Florida, and Ash Fork, where my ramp site is, 3,850 miles. I did a few detours. 4,400 miles. I just filled it up. 13.86 miles per gallon. From Boston to Stowe, Vermont, and the fog is setting in. Had the most beautiful sunset last night as I drove through New Hampshire to central Vermont, and I had no memory, and I got to the restaurant at 9:05, and dinner ends at 9. No supper. I got somebody here who wants to say hello to you. Look what I found. Mr. Mug! Mug! He knows. Had a big walk. We've got to stretch those little legs. And we're getting back to the routine. Construction disasters, leaky concrete walls. Welcome to New England, where the weather never gets better, it only gets worse. Well, at least it was nice until 4 o'clock. That's a big trailer for a Ford Ranger. It's basically what an Explorer sport track is, whatever that thing is. I rented one of those in California a few years ago. What a gas guzzler. Noisy 4-liter engine.
As part of the private banking transaction,
coming out of the mountains,
using slaves as collectors.
And it's foggy, and the steering is wandering on this beast.
From slavery, it's one of today's top 4 law firms. Freshfields tends to highlight how slavery and slave ownership permeates in British society, even in places where you wouldn't expect to find it.
Beautiful state of Vermont. How'd you like that video I made with Sharpshooter roaring up and down those narrow streets of Somerville? Foot to the floor! Just like this. Got my shoes on at least.
Still affects much of the west coast.
Beautiful Vermont.
A suggestion from Rothschilds and Freshfields that they should invest 1% of their pre-tax profits in programs of democratic development in countries which were devastated by slavery at that time. No lawsuit seeking reparations for the slave trade has ever succeeded, and American campaigners have made some headway. They've persuaded a number of U.S. banks and insurance companies.
Motorcycles. Lots of motorcycles.
Set up a $5 million scholarship fund for African American pupils.
They're in a rush. I'm going 72. They're going 75, 80. With a nice aluminum trailer.
To follow the American example. In London, this is Stephen Beard for Marketplace.
Idyllic settings. The beauty that is Vermont. No high-speed rail here. Too many mountains. Getting all frogged up here. Air conditioning. No gloves. Won't be long though. I'll have them back on.
This final note today, twisted iron department. Last year, the insurance company AIG ate up the credit fault swaps and systemic risk in billions in government bailouts. Well, they had a little party for some of their executives at a resort hotel here in Southern California. We got word today that the St. Regis Monarch Beach in Dana Point has been seized by Citigroup. Its owners defaulted on a $70 million loan from Citigroup. Clearly, they didn't have any insurance on that loan from, I don't know, AIG. Anyway, that's Marketplace from American Public Media. Today, the Dow rose 6.
Crazy, our tax dollars going to these fat cats insuring stuff that's uninsurable, and the government pays off the loan.
Thanks to Dave
crazy.
and Rita Jablonski on our morning.
Crazy, wow, it's cold.
produced by
some heat.
Coming up next time on this radio broadcast, the benefits of counting carbon actually do start to add up.
Companies like a Starbucks or Whole Food, they need, for competitive reasons, to protect their brand, to attract the best and brightest, do need to be increasingly more environmentally responsible.
I'm Con Risdell. Hope you can join us for that tomorrow.
Funding for marketplace on PPR is provided by Chittenden, Mission of People's United Bank, and Kelleher Savage Bowl. The World is up next on Vermont Public Radio. We have support for programming from our contributing listeners. And the Subaru Impreza with a 170 horsepower Subaru Boxer engine and symmetrical 4x4 standard. And the Upper Valley Waldorf School, an active artistic approach to academic learning from nursery through grade 8, Leachy, Vermont.
I started off this road trip with 234, 850 miles, and now I'm at 239.94. So a difference of 4,250, 4,250 plus 5% at 200, 4,450 miles. 4,450 miles. What do you think about that, Muggs? He went for a big walk. He's tired. Good boy, Muggs. Good boy. Nope, not even opening his eyeballs.
From Public Radio International,
This is the world.
A co-production of the BBC World Service, PRI, and WGBH
Up
Boston.
the mountains, down the mountains. Up the mountains, down the mountains.
Today is Tuesday, July 21st. I'm Lisa Mullins in Boston. A report that President Obama ordered as part of his effort to close Guantanamo is going to be delayed 6 months. But supporters of the plan say the internationally condemned prison will still be shut down.
That's the important thing to...
High wind area, icing maker.
Guantanamo will be closed. It may not be
Ridge
closed
freeze
as rapidly
before
as the
road.
administration's hoped, but it will be
Big rocks.
closed.
Also, the private chefs of presidents and monarchs trade tips and pick up some new recipes. First up, this news.
BBC News with David Legg. There have been renewed clashes between police and opposition demonstrators in the Iranian capital, Tehran. Eyewitnesses reported that dozens of protesters were arrested in one of the city's main squares after chanting slogans against President Ahmadinejad, the declared winner of last month's disputed election. Our correspondent John Lyne reports.
Once again, opposition supporters came out on the streets despite police warnings that they would be severely dealt with.
Oh, here's two famous barns in Vermont. Monster 5-story barns. One there.
There were large numbers
the
of
trees are growing in.
but also plainclothes security officers who infiltrated
come
the
on.
crowds. Violence broke out and there were dozens of arrests. The opposition has
5-story barn.
switching electrical equipment off then on again at exactly the same time in an attempt to
Monster
bring
barn.
down the power grid.
Rivers.
One Iranian who recently left the country told me there was an atmosphere of defiance there, which could be felt in every corner.
The chairman of the U.S. Central Bank, Glenn Bernanke, says economic recovery should start gradually as the year progresses, accelerating through next year and into 2011. Presenting the Federal Reserve's twice-yearly report to Congress, Mr. Bernanke said it was important to keep interest rates low so as not to endanger the positive signs of recovery, which itself could be threatened by other factors like rising unemployment.
Despite these positive signs, the rate of job loss remains high and the unemployment rate has continued
Good fishing.
to rise. Job insecurity, together with declines in home values and tight credit, is likely to limit gains in consumer spending. The possibility that recent stabilization in household spending will prove transient is an important downside risk to the outlook.
Health experts are suggesting that closing schools could be one effective way to tackle swine flu as it spreads across the globe. The French government is reported to be preparing up to 300
Up
hours
another
of
hill.
educational programming to be
Up and
broadcast
down,
into
up
school
and down.
classes. Some Muslim nations are warning pregnant women not to attend the Hajj pilgrimage, while China has forcibly quarantined infected foreigners. The World Health Organization said the H1N1 virus pandemic has now killed more than 700 people worldwide. A Brazilian report says that 5,000 adolescents are killed every year in the country's uneducated black males. The study was released jointly by UNICEF, the Brazilian government, and a slum monitoring group. Gary Duffy assesses the report.
In a projection based upon current trends,
44
starting
miles
from the year
per gallon.
2006, it suggests that some 33,000 Brazilian adolescents will die as a result of violence by the year 2012.
More fog.
Among the main reasons for these killings were problems linked to the consumption of drugs, such as debts that were owed to traffickers. With firearms singled out as one of the main causes of death, the report's authors say some form of gun control is imperative.
World News from the BBC. Staff at the Venezuelan embassy in Honduras have been given
11 minutes. It's a long video.
The leader of Honduras, Roberto Micheletti, has accused the Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez of interfering in the country's domestic affairs. President Chavez denies the accusation, but has openly given logistical support to Honduras' elected President Manuel Zelaya. Mr. Zelaya was removed from office by a military coup last month. American scientists have begun tracking the life histories of some of the world's oldest and tallest trees in California amid concerns that climate change might be causing them to die prematurely. Botanists from the University of Washington are carrying out experiments in Yosemite National Park, which is home to many towering redwood trees. Dr. James Lutz, one of the researchers, says it's a long-term project.
No one researcher can see the ultimate results of the work. I plan on monitoring this plot for, say, the next 25 or 30 years, after which I will turn the plot over to someone in the next generation of forest ecology. And I think that the most value to these long-term projects is only realized in 50 or even 100 years.
4 firefighters in Spain have been killed while trying to tackle a blaze at a nature reserve in the northeast of the country. Another 2 were injured. A local government official said the fire had started in a remote section of the forest, and the firefighters died after the wind changed direction and fanned the flames. The Watergate Hotel in Washington, part of the complex at the center of the burglary scandal that led to President Richard Nixon's resignation in 1972, has failed to attract investors' interest at auction. The bank that foreclosed on the 250-bedroom property made the early bid of $25 million. Correspondents say it seems no one was willing to invest the millions of dollars needed to bring the hotel up to modern standards. BBC News.
All fogged in.
The world is supported by the Medtronic Foundation, working with Teach for America to improve science and math education in communities across the United States. Information at medtronicfoundation.org. And by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, dedicated to the idea that all people deserve the chance to live a healthy, productive life. Information at gatesfoundation.org.
I'm not doing that. My foot's steady.
I'm Lisa Mullins, and this is The World. The lone surviving gunman in last year's attacks on Mumbai, India, has told his story. Ajmal Kasab confessed yesterday to his part in the violence. Today, Kasab told a judge in Mumbai just how his life's path led to his spraying automatic gunfire at commuters. Here's his story. Kasab said that he'd been unhappy with his low wages as a shop assistant in Pakistan, so he sought out the Mujahideen, Muslim jihadists, who were training to become a professional bandit. They directed him to the militant group behind the attacks. Christine Fair is a senior political scientist with the RAND Corporation and a professor at
14 minutes, counting.
She's now in New Delhi, India. Kasab's story, as he told it in recent days, I wonder if you find it credible and what in it you find surprising.
I think what has been most interesting here in Delhi, and probably the source of considerable incredulity, was...
All right, it's enough. 14 minutes. Say goodbye, Mr. Muggs. Nice to see you. Fast asleep. Good boy, Muggs. And there's me. Thanks for looking. Love you.